Hello guys, Glenn Anderson here, the Natural Strongman. So going to be running a Q&A. Had some questions coming from the fans, so yeah, going to try and address them and hopefully answer some questions that some of you guys have. So let's see what's coming. So the first question, and this was actually from the video I did yesterday. I'm up to episode 29 now for the Road to the £700 Deadlift. So this fellow's put, "Hi Glenn, you do deadlifts every 3 days it seems. How do you keep from overtraining? So many programs have you deadlift and or squat only once every 7 or 8 days. I'm like you, except not even remotely close to being strong like you. But I'm like you because I like to train deadlift, hack squat, and leg accessories every 2 or 3 days. But I don't know if I'm overtraining or not." Right, okay. So you do deadlifts every 3 days. Yeah. So um, doing deadlifts twice a week. So normally I would do the first main session on the Thursday and then the second deadlift session on the Sunday. So I'm doing deadlift Thursday and then 3 days later I'm doing deadlift again. But then it's 4 days before I actually go back and start again. Usually I do deadlifts Thursday and Sunday, but sometimes the deadlift might be on the Wednesday. It depends on my shift patterns, but normally I try and make it Thursday and Sunday. So yeah, deadlifting twice a week. How do you keep from overtraining? Right, okay. So when I was doing strongman, I was training 3 to 4 times a week. So I had one day doing my log press and all my pressing assistance. Second day was deadlift and deadlift assistance. Third day was like squat and flow press and all that. And then the fourth day was like another deadlift variation. And I was doing strongman events. But because I'm doing this deadlift only program, I'm only training twice a week. So because of that, it is helping me to keep from overtraining because I'm only doing two sessions a week as opposed to 3 or 4 that I was doing. Um, Also, as well, please remember that with my deadlift sessions, even though I'm training twice a week, I'm not training anywhere near failure. And with the assistance exercises that I'm doing, I'm not training near to failure on most of them. Even when I deadlifted £600 for two, it was fairly comfortable for me. I could have done more reps. So yeah, bear that in mind as well. I'm not pushing a lot because sometimes you get a lot of people they do deadlifts and all that, and they I actually know some people, but you do get a lot of people that like they'll max out on a deadlift a lot very often, and yeah, I used to be guilty of that when I first started, but I'm not doing it so much now. If you take a look back at the videos and you can see how I've progressed it. Take this training block that I'm doing, for example. First week I only did 200, then 225, then 240, then 255, then 270, and then the 272 and a half. So I'm not training anywhere near my max. You know, I'm not going to failure, and I'm trying to make the reps. I'm not grinding the reps. They're fast. They're moving fast. They're moving easy. So again, because of that, I'm able to deadlift twice a week because I'm not pushing myself to the limit. And on the Sunday when I'm doing the deadlift variations, at the moment I'm doing snatch grip deadlift, but again I'm not going anywhere near my limit. Um, Also as well, I'm consuming well over 4,000 calories. I sleep 7 to 8 hours a night, so I'm making sure my food is in, making sure my sleep is in. Um, I do walking or cycling on my rest days and all, just to help the blood flow and all that. So all these things together is what helps to keep me from overtraining. Uh, so many programs have you deadlift and squat only once every 7 or 8 days. Yeah, the thing is that um, it's very individual, really. Um, a beginner would probably have to train more often than that, um, because if, let's say, for example, someone's only deadlifting £300 or whatever, the intensity isn't that high really, so they can probably train more often. But someone that's pulling close to 700, I can deadlift twice a week, but only one of them can be heavy really. But when you get super advanced, for example, Eddie Hall, um, he deadlifted 500 kilos, and he said that he was only deadlifting once a week, but he was only deadlifting heavy once a fortnight. So he 1 week would be heavy deadlifts, then the next week would be speed deadlifts. So he was only going heavy once every 2 weeks. He was at that elite level that he had to do that, but frequency is going to be a very individual thing. So that's something you'll have to work out yourself. I don't know where you're at. What's your max deadlift? Um, right, I don't know if I'm overtraining or not. Are you progressing? If you're progressing and you're continuing to get strong, then it's fine. Then you're not overtraining. If you're going in every day and you're feeling like crap and you're failing lifts, so yeah, like I say, if you're coming in and everything's feeling heavy and all that, and you're failing lifts, um, then yeah, you probably are overtrained. But if everything's feeling good and everything's moving well and all that, and you're making progress, then no, you're probably all right. Um, so yeah, I hope that helps. If you've got any more questions, please let me know. So right, I've noticed that you did pulse deadlift. What are they in aid of? So pulse deadlifts. It's more for like below the knee kind of area, really, because I'm strong off the floor, but I'm weak at lockout. Um, so, believe it or not, pulse deadlifts actually do help with the lockout as well, but it's also like to correct any bar path issues that you might have. Because you get some people, and I've actually done this and all, where if your starting position is wrong, you're going to finish wrong. Whereas when you do pulse deadlifts, if your starting position is wrong, once you start lifting, you've then got to move to get in the correct position. But when you do like a pause deadlift, once you're standing there, you'll quickly realise, and then you can adjust it. Um, so pause deadlifts are good for that, basically. So got to make sure that your start is good as well as your finish. Because, like I say, it's with me. Like I say, I'm strong off the floor, but I'm weak at lockout. And there's been times in the past I've noticed where I've like my where I've started has been a bit wrong and it's mucked up my lockout. Right, someone's asked about my 4 inch block pulls that I've been doing. Yeah, so basically that removes leg drive as well. Because some people actually, someone actually said this to me recently, like they actually find they can lift less because with a 4 inch block pull, with the bar elevated 4 inches off the floor, you'd think it would be easier because of the reduced range of motion. But again, it's eliminating the leg drive. You can't use leg drive like you would if you was lifting off the floor. So in a way, it kind of like balances itself out. I actually find it's about the same actually for me, really, because I've got the advantage of its less range of motion, but then I've got the disadvantage of I can't use leg drive. So yeah, it's quite interesting, but it does help with lockout as well. Um, so yeah, uh, someone also asked me as well, and this was actually a guy in the gym actually that asked me. This is not um, what I've been messaged on social media. This actually um, he asked me why I train barefoot when I do deadlifts, and it's basically just to reduce the range of motion and be closer to the bar. Really, um, why I don't wear socks. And I actually got this tip from Andy Bolton because he talked about it in his book Deadlift Dynamite, and I bought that book quite a few years ago now actually, and I got that tip. Um, and yeah, I've been doing it pretty much ever since actually. Um, but yeah, like I say, deadlift barefoot or wear socks and all that. I don't wear shoes when I deadlift, and it's basically just a range of motion issue, really, just to reduce the range of motion. Because I mean, I do have like barefoot shoes and all that, and I could deadlift in my shoes, but I just find it easier to deadlift in either socks or barefoot. So yeah, it just helps you get closer to the bar, really. Right. And then this other guy also messaged me and said he went for a 250 deadlift and failed it. He said that his jumps were 70 times 3, 120 times 2, 170 times 2, 200 times 2, 220 times 2, 230 times 1, 240 times 1, and then he failed 250. Right, okay, so straight away you've done like 8 total sets here to get to that 250. And I'd say, for starters, the 240 was completely unnecessary. In fact, I think even 230 is a little bit close. Um, so the way I would have done it, and I've written it down here, if if I was attempting 250, I would probably go 70 for 5, 120 for 3, 160 for 1, 200 for 1, 225 for 1, and then go for your 250. I think whatever your top percentage is, if you're going for 250, then you want to your the set that you do before that should be about 10% less. So I think 240, by doing the 230 and 240, you've just worn yourself out a little bit there, and I think 240 is a little bit close, to be honest. So yeah, I mean the lower ones are okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but I think you've done too many sets here that have been too close to the top bit. So I would have, and the way I've done it as well is you've just done it in 6 sets. Because when I did the 305, I mean, you can watch the video, I've got it on my YouTube, but when I did the 305, I did 75 for 5, 125 for 3, 175 for 1. So with the lower ones, the 75, 120, I've done high reps there, but then from the 175, I've done 225 times 1, 275 times 1, and then 305 times 1. So I've done a total of 6 sets, but I've just, from 175 onwards, I've just done 1 rep, and that's just to. But I've pulled it with intent and pulled it quickly and made it move nice and fast. So this has got give me the confidence going into them heavier weights. But at the same time, I'm not wearing myself out because I'm not doing lots of reps either. So after I did the 305, I did attempt 320 and I failed. But that was because obviously by doing the 305, I the 320 just wasn't there because I think I was a little close. I don't know if 320 was there that day, but it could have been. Um, but the plan for that day was to just do 305 or 310. With 320, I was just trying my luck really. But 305, 310 was the plan, and yeah, I got 320 and it was reasonably. So I got 305 and it was reasonably comfortable. So when I go for the 320, it's probably going to look something like this. I'll probably do 70 for 5, 120 for 3, 170 for 1, 220 for 1, 270 for 1, 295 for 1, and then 320 for 1. So with them last three, 270 for 1, then I'll jump up 25, 295, then I'll jump up another 25. So I'm going up in 25. So that's reasonably, you, you know, because if I was to go 310, it's highly unlikely I'm going to get 320 because I'd have burnt myself out by doing the 310. So if I'm aiming for 320, I need to be a little bit away from that number. If I can move 295 and it moves reasonably well, then I know it's a pretty safe bet that 320 is going to be there. But yeah, generally I would say about 8 to 10% really. When you get to them figures, I think if you're going to go 10 kilos below what you're aiming for, I don't think it's going to end well for you. So, yep. So yeah, these are the questions for now. Um, so I hope that helps a little bit. If there's any other questions you've got, let me know in the comments below, and I'll do a video about it when I can. I'll do like a compilation, like I've done tonight. Let the questions come in, and then try and answer them in one video if I can. So yep. So that's it for now. Next training session should be Sunday, so keep an eye out for that one. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon for the next video.